I'm trying to go back to the wall. Come home. Tomorrow is first spring. Actually, 2 calls. I have to call in a week. 2. Very good.
Yeah. Well, that's what comes again.
What? Go. Start it over.
Call the meeting to order. Ask everybody to stand for prayer led by Pastor Jones of Temple Baptist, and to remain standing for the pledge.
Thank you. Let's pray together. God, we thank you for these men and women that are willing to give their time and effort to serve our city. God, we thank you for their wisdom and, God, their common sense that you have given them. But, God, we ask for even a deeper understanding of what you want our city to be. Your word tells us that our heart has plans, but you design our steps. And so, God, we just pray that you would help us to make the right decisions, to help us to be the kind of city where people would want to raise their family, and God, where we can protect one another and love one another and care for one another. And we do that for your honor and your glory. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Corbett?
Here.
Alderman Matthews?
Here.
Alderman Silver?
Here.
Alderman Schweitzer?
Here.
Alderman Wall?
Here.
Need to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We need to approve the minutes from the February 15th study session and Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, as well as the February 22nd study session. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to welcome all our visitors. We've got 2 proclamations tonight. I suspect that's probably what a lot of you are here for. We'll start with Miss Abby Page. Whereas the White House Heritage High School senior Abby Page has a decorated career in wrestling. Whereas Ms. Page was a manager for the wrestling team her freshman year. Whereas Ms. Page started her sophomore year where she placed 6th in the 114-pound weight class in the 2022 state tournament. Whereas Ms. Page was the first female from Robertson County to make it to the state tournament in 2022. Whereas Ms. Page was the 2024 Region 3 114-pound champion during her senior year. Whereas Ms. Page advanced to the state tournament with a 14-3 record during her senior year. Whereas Ms. Page placed 4th in the 114-pound weight class in the 2024 state tournament. Whereas on behalf of the citizens of White House, we congratulate Ms. Page on her successful career of competition. Now, therefore, I, John Corbett, as the mayor of City of White House, and on behalf of the entire board of mayor and aldermen, do hereby recognize Abby Page for her athletic achievement and for her commendable representation of the City of White House. In witness whereof, I have here to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of White House to be affixed on this 21st day of March 2024. Next, we've got Nick Taylor. Nick? Oh, yeah. Whereas the White House Heritage High School senior Nick Taylor has a decorated career in wrestling. Whereas Mr. Taylor became the Connection's first Robertson County Wrestler of the Year after his junior season. Whereas Mr. Taylor won the Region 5A Championship, Section 3A Championship, and placed 5th in the Class A State Tournament during his junior year. Mr. Taylor won the Coyote Classic at West Creek and the Bruise Brothers Brawl at Springfield during his senior year. Whereas Mr. Taylor won the Region 6A Championship during his senior year. Whereas Mr. Taylor entered the Class A State Tournament with a 35-2 record on his senior season. Whereas Mr. Taylor marked 100 wins during his career at Heritage, being the first at the school to achieve this number of wins. Whereas Mr. Taylor ended his senior year placing 4th in the Class A 165-pound classification in the 2024 state tournament and was named Region 6A Wrestler of the Year. Whereas on behalf of the citizens of White House, we congratulate Mr. Taylor on his successful career competition. Now therefore I, John Corbett, as the mayor of the city of White House, and on behalf of the entire board of mayor and aldermen, do hereby recognize Nick Taylor for his athletic achievement and for his commendable representation of the city of White House. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of White House to be affixed on this 21st day of March 2024.
You know he's Wrestler of the Year this year, too.
Good job. All right. So our public comment section, and nobody has signed up to speak, so we'll move to the public hearings, which we have none. Communication, Alderman Matthews.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Chris Keith with Public Services. He's been with the department and with the city for 30 years. I believe he started out in wastewater and he's transitioned to a different role. It's unbelievable to see him be here for 30 years. It's dedication. And these gentlemen and women, they work very hard to take care of us here at the city, and we appreciate it.
Alderman Spicer.
I don't have anything.
Alderman Silver.
Nothing for me.
Alderman Wall.
Good.
City Attorney.
Nothing.
City Administrator.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I just wanted to let you know that Sage Road widening between Madeline and Cardinal is completed. I see that behind us. Grading work is ongoing at the soccer complex, and our Americana Planning Committee has met last week, starting the process for planning for that coming up here. And a big concern of ours is will the soccer complex be done in order for us to be able to have the carnival there and that type of thing. So we talked to the contractor today, and they're on schedule. They anticipate being done a couple of weeks before the Americana celebration, so I'm happy about that. So we'll keep track of that. Another good news this week was TDOT local programs notified us that we had available to us a $230,000 grant from the federal Small Cities Local Surface Transportation Grant. This is the first time in 12 years we've been offered this type of grant. We must have it obligated to us by the end of September. So we're going to be able to use these funds for construction costs on our sidewalk and safety project at Raymond Hirsch Use 31W. This will be helpful since the cost estimates that were submitted for that grant were 2 years ago, and as you know, construction costs have risen sharply, so I'm sure that's going to help fill in that inflationary gap. We're in the process of getting new cost estimates to update the grant application, and I've initiated today the process that we have to go through to get the MPO Transportation Improvement Plan updated with an amendment, so that'll get before the MPO's Technical Coordinating Committee in May, and then to the Executive Board a week after that, so we'll be able to get that all approved and open by the end of May. So that concludes my report. So thank you.
Thank you. We need to acknowledge our reports. Motion.
Motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of the following resolutions. Resolution 24-03, a resolution to annex certain territories and incorporate same within the corporate boundaries of the city of White House, Tennessee. First reading. We got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Right, second.
Second.
Property owner across from Heritage High, and I think the map would already be shown right there where the star is. Adjacent to that property, he already owns that, so he's trying to bring this, roughly 10 acres in, for under, to be commercial, which is commercial next to it also.
The property to the left, right?
Yeah, where the star's showing, he owns the property to the left, going towards Springfield, again, across from White Out Heritage. And again, he'd be bringing this in as commercial, if approved, for additional road frontage.
Right.
How many acres does he currently have in Zone C2 that's adjacent to
I
that?
think that is about 20 acres.
More than that.
More than
Between both parcels, he has both parcels.
Yeah, both
that
parcels, that's right.
Are in, this is the third parcel, I think it's, Steve Arts is here, I mean, he might be able to help us answer that question.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't think it's like 50 acres or something.
You might want to come up here so they can address the council.
Yeah, I think it's more than that.
Yeah, and it also extends to Union Road there.
Eric's looking it up real quick here for us. So this is the property. Yeah, we want to go to the two next to it. That one there is
14.
And then how much is the other one?
29.
30, yes.
About 35.
40, 45.
And those were brought in
Plus the 10 would be 55.
quite a few years ago. Actually, 2010 is when those two parcels were annexed in.
Yeah, 7 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 2010. He also owns some property that adjacent to Union Road that again he wants to keep for commercial.
As far as fire and police protection, have we, this is the plan of services, correct? Or is that going to be done separate?
That'll be done separate. That'll be at the next reading of
Yeah,
this
second reading.
resolution.
We'll hold up.
Any other discussion? Comments, questions? Okay, you got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you. Consideration of the following ordinances. Ordinance 24-03, an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robertson County Agricultural AG2 to General Commercial C2, the 7769 Highway 76, first reading. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, this is the same property we just
Right.
annexed in, so, any
So,
questions
yeah, same.
about the rezone to commercial?
If we rezone it to commercial, I should have asked this before, what can he build up there?
Everything within the C2, anything within the C2, definitely no residential. And then there are special exceptions for things like storage units and things of those.
Car lots and that
Car
sort
lots,
of
yeah,
thing.
things like that.
But we could put a gas station there.
Sure.
You could put a gas station there. Yeah, he expressed the desire to build something nice there. He didn't have a timeline on when he was going to do it. I think the property just came available and he purchased it.
Maybe a Dollar General.
I think he said no Dollar General. I mean, you know.
I will adjust to that, he did say that.
So, one thing I found with a lot of the local property owners is they do have a desire to bring something nice into the city. So, not to say if it's old, but I mean.
If we get that road widened, it'll be nice. All right.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Purchasing, to approve or reject the purchase of an LTE video surveillance trailer from Wireless CCTV from the GSA Cooperative Contract number GS07F031DA in the amount of $46,328.58. The Chief of Police recommends approval. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Chief?
This is an item that we brought to you before the budget retreat. It's off our BCIF grants, 100% reimbursement through the state. This will be one of those solar things you may have seen down in Davidson County with 20-foot mast, 360 surveillance, which we would use for soccer games, baseball, parades, Americana, those types of things. Bluetooth enabled, like we'll be able to access it from our cell phones, we'll be able to access the videos, live videos right from our cell phones, those types of things. And I will say, excuse me, we had applied for a collaborative grant too with Robertson County and Springfield for $300,000. I should knock the wood when I say this, but we were denied because the crime rate was so low. We had gone together. We did. We spent a lot of time with Mr. Herman putting the grant package together, and because our crime numbers were so low, we didn't qualify. So that's a little give and take, but so that's where we are with this. And if this works out and works as well as we think it will, we'll probably come back a couple of years and try to get a second one, get more coverage throughout the city. Plus, with the new park out in North Palmer. So.
Yep. Cool. All right.
So, Chief, how does it work with the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi? Will you have to connect to a partner business that you're
No.
at,
There may be a hotspot out there. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but no, we would not partner with any outside business. It would strictly be locked down through the police department, so nobody else would be able to access it.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah.
And you can add secondary cameras or phone.
If we wanted to add secondary cameras down the road, but I really believe with the 360 we have, that wouldn't be necessary. I think we'd be better off in the future buying a whole new, a second system to put it someplace else in the city. With the amount of cameras on this one, I don't think it'd be necessary to add any more. I think we'll have enough covered.
All right. Any other discussion?
Just show them what you did with the rest of the grant. We had to make an amendment to the.
Yeah, we did make an amendment because we do have some money left over now, so we're going to be getting some tasers along with the body armor that was already in the initial grant, but those are under $25,000. So I think we had $17,000 left over, so we'll be buying, I think, 4 new tasers, which is really what was left over. So we'll be almost to the penny. I mean, they were giving us $115,000, so we'll be right up against that number. So.
All right. Any other discussion? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other business. To determine the level of debt service for road improvement projects discussed during the study session. Motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
All right, guys. Thoughts?
Some of the questions I had, I spoke to Jason today, in charge of finance. And the questions I had were, if we, the timeline versus if we approve a tax increase versus if we send it to referendum. And I think he's going to reach out to the state comptroller's office, and also, I believe, Raymond James to determine that, unless you already have an answer.
Yeah, basically, it would delay it another year.
Okay.
You know, we would miss the budget year. By the time we would do a referendum in November, you'd approve our taxes, we start collecting in October through February, so we would miss that year, be added to the next year.
Is there any way that we could put this on the referendum in August? Do we have enough time if we do that? Ralph?
Now, I got a letter from,
There's a general election in August.
November, yeah, and that was the one that, Lori Anderson mentioned that, there's a deadline for that. I'm not sure we would make that August deadline, and, I'm not sure about that.
That scenario, if we could, if we want to take that route, possibly pass a resolution contingent on approval of the referendum, and then it would take effect when the budget, when the tax bills go out in October, we would capture it then, whether than instead of waiting the year after. So it saves us several months. Does that make sense? If that's the path we decide to take. And Jason and I spoke about that today.
The other path would be, that like you said, your board has the authority to raise the property taxes in the city or decrease them at will. So Jason and I have been looking at it, and we've been with talk to the comptroller's office, MTS, trying to figure out what's the best approach to handle this, and whether we should. It looks like the best thing for us to do would be to make it part of the budget ordinance, put the projects in the budget, and then have a tax increase in that budget ordinance. And then I was trying to figure out how do we, I know the mayor would like to have the sunset on it, and so we're trying to figure out how to do that. And then they said the intention's good, but each board every year makes a decision on what the tax is going to be for for the property tax, whether they're gonna increase it or go with the certified tax rate or decrease it. So, what we could do is a resolution saying that the intent of this board was to do these 6 projects, fund it with debt service. That debt service would be covered by future boards until that debt service paid off, and then it would be the intent to have them reduce that tax rate, that tax increase at that time. But again, it's flexible from year to year. Each board makes that decision year to year. But that's about the best we could do. We can't really make that.
The bottom line is we can't bind a board in 12 years from now and force their hand on something. So, but
at least you can let it be known what the intent of this particular board is at this time, if you wanted to do that. And that's, of course, if you wanted to fund all 6 projects, or if you wanted to, do 3. I did get notified today too that Lennar Homes is moving towards trying to get getting their final plat. They've had communications with TDOT, and TDOT looking at the traffic plan is wanting them to put a northbound turn lane on 76 to turn left onto Union Road, put traffic signal, which we knew they were going to do the traffic signal. We would have to coordinate any engineering design. It'd be nice if Lennar would do most of the design work. Then we have to put some turn lanes there. I think our intention was to go a little bit further on Union Road, because Union Road is pretty beat up, heading towards Harper's Way. Plus, they're also telling that they're requiring to put a northbound turn lane onto Newhall Road and put a traffic light there too. So that might be something that we'll see happening in the city in the future, based on the developers, state requiring the developer to do that type of thing. Just like you know too, they do have Tyree Springs finally. That traffic signal is up. It's on flash. They got the grid smart system in there working now. And we're hoping the next few weeks that'll be regular. It'll be fully operating, with red light and green light kind of stuff. So that one's going. But anyway, just getting back to these, that's what we're thinking. But if you want to go to referendum, we're going to take the lead of whatever the board direction they give us. We'll do the best we can in making sure that you get what your intentions are and what your hopes are for these projects.
When was our last tax increase?
Yeah.
When was our last tax increase?
2017, I believe it was. It was when we did the last time they did the assessment on the properties, 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay. Do you know how much that was?
25 cents at the time. Right, and our rate stayed at about $1.29 for the last 5 years until this property conscious did their assessment, which dropped it down. We're anticipating Sumner's to go down to. We also looked at, should we do 17 cents, which would be what Jason has calculated would take care of the debt service for $11 million in borrowing. But the MTS is recommending that we make that a percentage, which would be about 20% increase.
What was it?
On an 83 cent, basing the idea that Sumner would be dropping to 83 cents, not at the $1.30 that it is right now today. So that'll change. So that's what he's looking at.
What's our increase history look like in the last, say, 15, 20 years?
Well, we went quite a few years before this 25. The last time we did it,
that 25 cent was 25%, I think, at the time.
At the time, it was more. Yeah, it was 20%. Yeah, it was still higher. But you remember the last time it was several years before that. A long time. We went quite a few years. I think almost 20 years maybe before we had that increase.
Yeah.
And that pretty much took care of the gymnasium, rec center. So
reassessments is typically what gets people. So
yeah.
We
don't have any which is nice. We don't have any transportation debt at all, which is really good. So
people referendum and all. You throw that out there, people are, to be honest, people are not going to vote for a tax increase. I'm just going to be. I think we're spinning our wheels there.
Right.
We've got this is a situation that I've seen coming for a long time, and it's here.
Right.
I knew we were going to get put in this place. What do we have any projected projects beyond these that can't be put off on a developer?
Yeah, we know that. There are some other ones that we have.
Well, let me reword this. Anything that we can't handle with our normal budget.
If you're going to have some coming up, but we have been able to manage some as we go, like the active transportation grant. We put money aside. Every year we've been taking money out of our general fund towards Osage Road, cashed.
Right.
We cashed that. And all these active transportation grants we've had, we've had like 5 of them, we've been able to cash all those. So I think we would look at each road as we go, that we know we're probably gonna need, we're warning for a traffic light at Lone Oak, in 76, that's something that may have to be considered. There's, that's a possibility one, and then you got Callista Road, the second phase, I guess the next phase of it would be taking it from Bill Moss Road to the city limits. That certainly is something that we'll have to take a look at down the road, as we go in the future.
Cause I don't wanna nickel and dime our folks, I just,
it's
I don't wanna say in 2 years, we've hit this wall again,
Right.
and we've gotta do it again and again and again to fix previous, decisions,
Right.
wrong decisions, so.
I think from a budgeting standpoint, if we can get these 6 knocked out this way, we need to, I think, have staff try to figure out a way to cash
Right.
these other projects like we did Sage
like
Road.
Tyree Springs Road, and then we're gonna be, another requirement on Tyree is a sidewalk along the western side of the road from Lennar, basically from South Palmer Chapel all the way to the city greenway, to connect that to it. There's that. They've already ordered the parts to put dedicated turn lanes. Well, turn lanes are there, but the dedicated left turn lights at Meadows Road, Raymond Hirsch there at Tyree Springs.
Yeah.
That's a developer-driven thing.
Yep.
So we'll keep pushing, and as long as the board decides to restrain from approving future land unit developments that are high-density areas outside, the local areas in the city, that would be beneficial probably for slowing this down so we can get caught up. And I think the growth that we have, which we know, and I've already shared that with the chamber, shared that with you, we're looking at, at the pace we're going now, in 8.5 years, we would have everything built out that's been approved today. That puts us to about 29,000 people. And so that growth in people, which is sales tax, property taxes, will help finance maybe these future road areas that we need to continue to improve. So, but all I know is when you take and add a subdivision that's a large subdivision and it's further out, that means you've got to stretch utilities, you've got to stretch roads, and and then sometimes you get overly excited. We have that right now with Boyles Road. They got overexcited, and when this was years ago, before any of us were doing this job, Tate was going to put this PUD in there, NCRPD there. So they annexed Pinson Road, which was completely almost in this rock. Boyles Road on the other side of it. We won't even have anybody living on Boyles Road that's in the city.
No.
Literally none.
Right.
I mean, we have one parcel that's there, and they're looking to de-annex now.
Yep.
They're going to be asking for a de-annexation.
Right.
So I'm going to have a length of probably a half a mile of a road that needs to be paved. Pleasant Grove Road needs to be paved. But these are things we're trying to catch up in. I'm hoping too that we're going to try to do a census if we can get that done this year. That possibly could bring in several $100,000 more into the city, because we know our population since 2020, when the census was given, to today, has grown at least 4,000 people. I think it will by the time these 2 apartment complexes fill up. We will be there. So it would be good to get that extra money to help us with the roads. But that's really what I have so far. But these are the different options you have. We can certainly talk more about this at our budget retreat coming up here, and then I'm hoping maybe to have the right direction from you all which way we should go with this, so that when I start working on the budget preparation with Jason, we put our final numbers together, and we have our budget study session May with you. We will have it all together for you, so it'll be easy to see how we're going with it. But that's really what you do. Do you want to wait for referendum, or do you want to try to incorporate that into this next year's budget?
One of the other things that I discussed with Jason, I thought I'd share with you guys, that is regarding the park sales tax. I think we've gone back and forth whether we can utilize that for any type of project we have outside of the parks department, and I think we need clarification on that. I think he's going to reach out to you, Valerie, and Gerald. Because he's under the understanding that it was passed through a referendum, similar to what Hendersonville. Okay.
There was a referendum passed, and we do collect a local option tax for both Sumner and Robertson County absorbs it. So it's a small percentage, but we have that account for that. And what Jason had decided when he got here, he thought, well, let's take money from the general fund that would make up the difference, add Robertson County, not taking it from us. And that's why, so there is extra money there that we use it, but, you know, we do a lot of park stuff, we cash a lot of park stuff, and there's more projects coming for parks. I don't know if you really wanna, you know, you got a whole brand new park that's gonna have to get developed. I mean, that's expected to be developed by the Leisure Services Board and by the public. So I don't know if you really wanna move that money, cause it's gonna be like, then you have to borrow money for that if you're gonna start fixing the park.
How did Robertson County take that money from us?
Well, they just voted. They had a full vote for the whole county, and so once the county has it, they take the local option tax. It's brought into them.
So the local option tax that Hendersonville just passed, if you look at that ordinance or the resolution, it was worded different where they could spread that money out. Is it what?
Into different areas.
0.2, is it 0.5%? And that's what we increased ours from to top it out to 2.75 local. Okay.
Yeah, they could do that because Summer hasn't done that. They have not chosen to take, I mean, to vote a referendum for the entire county so that they would absorb that. But they don't manage parks.
No.
County does, the cities do.
Right.
So there's no reason for the county to do that. There shouldn't have been any reason for Robertson. They don't manage parks either. You know, the cities do, as far as I know. I don't know of any parks that the county's responsible for. Maybe they are.
Yeah, but Hendersonville passed the sales tax increase. It wasn't the Sumner County, it was the Hendersonville.
Right, they did it because they could do it because
They're
Sumner
not
hasn't.
They're not maxed out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why we did it.
We're currently maxed out.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't increase the sales.
Yeah, we're maxed out on it, so that's another, but that, you know, the way Jason set it up, I think it's worked pretty well for us because we have been able to do some pretty large projects. The tennis courts is pretty expensive, obviously the soccer complex, $3 million there. You know, so you add that stuff up, we're in the millions of dollars that we've added to the parks as a result of that park sales tax.
I'm not in favor of robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, like you said, we've got that new park that's coming down the road, and if we do that, we're gonna have to then go borrow money for that, so
And we have the rec center that's gonna be finished that we have to pass, like, no, I don't understand.
And to be honest, none of those funds have substantial amount of money to cover.
No.
cover $11
To
million.
cover
I
11
mean, we can't even cover the North Palmers with what we've got in that, you know, so it's.
Well, we have revenue of about, I've got the budget book here, it's about 1.1 million annually. It's coming in through that park sales tax, and it should go up each year. So we're spending part of that on debt services and the other part on capital.
That's on the Byron Park, that's the debt service that's there.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's just an option if we wanna look at it, of
Absolutely.
course, but, you know, it's a discussion, so.
No, I think that's a good point to make.
Yeah, we need to be
Alderman
flipping
Matthews,
over
I
every
think
rock
there.
and looking for what we can. I mean, look, the bottom line, I mean, you know, I put out a post on social media. Of course, you get answers all over the board, but probably 80+% of the responses just get it done. I mean, you know, I think people realize we inherited a bit of a mess as far as the road work is concerned. And, you know, it's not an easy decision, but I think we were put in place to fix it. And as much as I hate, you know, messing with taxes and making them go up a little bit, this will make a huge improvement in the situation that we've got now, particularly on the west side of the interstate. That Pleasant Grove Road and then the Union Road. I mean, we had 2 tractor trailers go off the road in the last couple of weeks there at Union Road. It's in bad shape. And
You can't make the right turn off of Union Road without, you'd have to go really wide with a semi truck or your back end's going in that hole there.
Yep, and with all that stuff going in behind it, all the industrial, I mean, we gotta get it fixed.
And one of the other things that I'd just like to share with all of you and also the citizens is, you know, the question came up to me is why can't our road impact fees pay for this? You know, you take out the debt, figure out how much we've increased the road impact fees, use that income coming in to pay some of this debt off. But in conversations with Jason, road impact fees cannot be used to service debt.
Yep.
So we basically have to save up first.
Right.
And then use that to go do a project. So that's kind of the answer to that question. It's been presented to me.
Sure, yeah, no, it's a fair question.
Yeah, we're reducing, the Sage Road was $650,000 of that widening the stage that we just did came from road impact fees. But, you know, that took a taxing on that account.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just wanna see us as a board be proactive instead of reactive. And I wanna see us as transparent as possible.
Right.
You know, is a lot of times, you know, we are strapped by state law. There's things we can and cannot do. Folks don't understand that. You know, until you study and find out, you know, you don't know till you know. So, I just, you know, I've asked a lot of folks about this, and they got the same answer, you know, John had. You know, especially North Palmer's, you know, I drive it every day, and everybody I know that lives in, when are we getting this done? When are we getting this done? You know, I see 3 mailboxes knocked off the post and trash cans out in the middle of the road because trucks passing each other, you know.
We think we can get, that's the first one. I mean, Jason Reynolds and I have had discussions of putting the timeline together, and that would probably be the first project to get bid, because it's already ready to go. It's already been out before, came in high. That would be first, followed right behind it would be Pleasant Grove Road and 76, that would be the second one following. And we think Sage Road would be third, and then the other ones, which are going to take more work, more planning. We have more design work to do yet, figuring out right-of-ways, utility relocations. Then the other 3 would be following right behind those. So we think 2 years, maybe 3 years tops, we can get it all done, as long as we don't get delays in utilities and right-of-way issues.
A lot of my folks are like, you know, let's just get it done. I mean, of course, I tell them, look, we're looking at reassessment year this year as well. We don't know what that's going to look like. But the basic consensus on my end is, you know, we got to do what we got to do. So, I don't see a need to waste our time with a referendum, honestly. You know, so we just got to take care of the safety of our people. You know, these are things that need to be done.
I mean, it's an option, and to be fair, I thought of the same thing, Sam. I mean, it was like, let's let the people decide. But, you know, all the feedback, I mean, the majority of the feedback I've gotten from people is just fix it, please. I think this won't fix everything, but it's certainly a huge improvement versus what we've got.
It's a big start.
Yeah.
And we're certainly not asking for a vote tonight on this.
No, I know.
There's more discussion is going to take place at our
Sure.
budget retreat, and then when we get into our study session with our budget together.
Timing for the loan, so if we did approve this through voting with the board instead of on referendum, timing for when the loan would be able to come through, and Jason is going to reach out to Raymond James about that also.
Right. Yeah, it's just a resolution you'll have to do. We'll probably do that in July.
Okay.
Maybe even June. We might be able to do it in June if it looks like this is the direction we're all going. I'll know that in May when we have our first reading of the budget. And, you know, we'll still have to have a public hearing in June, along with the ordinance, and then what we would do is set it behind so that the ordinance would be passed first.
Yeah.
With the tax increase, so that we knew that we could go ahead and start the process. I already talked to, we'll have to get design contract with CSR, so I would do that in June also, probably, and do the resolution probably for the financing, so that we can get going on it as soon as we can, as early as July, get things out to bid, and then we'll be rolling with it by we'll get bids back probably for the first one, probably in August, and probably maybe right to the board by September, you know, to approve somebody that's a contractor, so start working on the first project. But we'll steadily keep it going. We won't lag behind. Derek knows I drive everybody to keep the ball going.
Yeah.
And stay on top of the projects that we're working on.
Yeah.
Is North Palmer's the only one that the design work's already been done on?
Pleasant Grove Road design is we're in the right-of-way phase right now, and they're starting to put together the specs that I need to go ahead and you know, the property identifying and all that stuff with the survey work that's been done. We have to. They're putting it together for me now, so we'll start working on the right-of-way, and then we got, I think, maybe 2 utilities that got to get maybe moved out of the way. So so that one won't be too far behind. I'm trying to get that done before July 1st too. So I mean, it's going to be really close. They may be bidding them out together, but we'll see. That's how close those two will be.
And then, go.
Yeah.
Thanks. So I'm not in favor of referendum either. I thought it was a good idea from the very beginning, but after looking at all the numbers and how long that would take and how far out that puts us, and then we could still get it out and be right back where we are today. Yeah, I think it's important that we make a decision that affects all of our citizens in all of our wards. And I will say this, I understand mailboxes are being knocked over, but we have people going in ditches and wrecks happening and people going into buildings. And we have a school on my side of the city that is a real problem. And I care about the safety of the citizens. I think we all do. This is why we do what we do, and it's why we got involved in the first place. And as much as I hate to raise taxes or do anything that affects a family, having someone hurt affects a family worse than having our property taxes raised. And so that's where I stand on things. That's how I feel, and I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
I agree 100%.
I should let you know, so in case you get phone calls, I wrote a quite lengthy article for the Word of White House that's going out in the next session. It's printers now, right there. So you'll be getting it in your homes, and we're expanding our circulation because we had to get into another zip code or something. Because we weren't getting all the households like we thought we were. So it's gonna. How many households do you think it's gonna hit this time?
We're estimating 8,000.
Wow. 8,000. So it's gonna be.
That's
I didn't say how we were gonna fund it. I just said these 6 projects have been presented, and if they get funded, this is our plan of action for these projects. So you may get phone calls on that. I just want to let you know that. But that should be coming out here probably in the next week or so. They'll be getting that.
Yeah, it should be going on end of next week.
End of next week, so you'll see that. So again, educating the public, I think, is important. Usually, when the public says if you're going to give a tax increase, you better do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, you'll pay the price at your next election. I can tell you that.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and as we've already mentioned, I think it's really critical for us not to be back in the same position, like Mike said, 5 years now. We've got to figure out a way to cash these other projects that we know are coming.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
From a budgeting standpoint, let's get staff to.
We're looking, I mean, like with this apartment complex that's going up, they have to expand the turn lane to get in there. They're down there at the Speedway, the new Speedway is being built. They were out there today marking the ground where they have to put an extended turn lane there too. So as these businesses do, we'll make them make the improvements they need to make along that main route.
But on some of the other road work, let's figure out a way to cash those so that we're not back with another tax increase.
Right. And I got a compliment the mayor. He's asked us to try to get us a meeting scheduled with some of our local legislators, and I'm going to see if we can get the District 3 TDOT representative here, who's the manager of District 3, to talk to the mayor so he can stress his concerns about 76 and seeing what they can do about trying to move our improved projects at least into the next 10 years.
5.
Yeah, 5 would be great. Yeah.
Next 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
No.
so my turn.
Yeah.
Go, Miss Linda.
My turn. Initially, I was all, pull the Band-Aid, let's do them all at once. And then when I started looking at the projects, what I see is all of these are going into Robertson County. We've got 2 that are actually in Sumner, which is the paving, the widening, and then Marlin. In addition to that, there are 4 of them going into Ward 2, 1 going into 1, and 1 going into 3. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There's 5 going into 2. And I'm concerned for citizens. I see the news. I mean, I know everybody's having accidents on that end, to that end. Are these not county roads? 76? State roads? State roads. And, but it's in Robertson County as well. So
Yes.
I guess my concern is we're taking the burden on as a city for county roads.
But there's
City roads.
Yeah.
They're both.
They're
but
state routes, is what you like to say. Right?
They're both, but we've got Sumner County who is going to be funding all of these, is my concern. As a citizen, I'm not living over in that area, and I know there are a lot of accidents over there.
So no one travels from Sumner County to our side? No one visits McDonald's?
Well,
no one comes over that
To
way? McDonald's? No one,
Seriously,
no one takes Union and cuts through
That's not the
over
area that we're fixing.
over there?
It's all on the other side of the interstate.
Because we held builders accountable on the other side and made them put in lights at Lennar and made them put lights at the other one.
That's correct.
But we weren't
So,
accountable for parks, and we still have houses
Can
being
we
built over
not?
there.
I know we had talked to one of the state representatives about getting some funds from Robertson County, from Springfield, to fix one of these areas.
They're not going to give us any money for city roads. I wish.
Unfortunately, we're a city that's split by two counties.
I know we are.
There's always been friction, there's always been problems. There will be continue to be problems.
So here I am on Sumner.
But what we have to do is we have to look at this as we're one. We're the city of White House.
And I do.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
the
just saying.
The state's not gonna do anything. They are reactive.
We can't, put in two large projects that are what? Union is 2 point something. I had this down.
But next year, it might be on our side, so we really can't look at it that way.
I'd like to comment too
Sure.
on the school that, about 95% of our sales tax traditionally until recently it's starting to go up a little bit on Sumner and all of our industrials on the Robertson County side. And as a result, especially on the sales tax, half the sales tax collected by the state for the city White House goes to the schools. We don't even see it. Half of it goes to the schools. So you can imagine what I hear in my meeting with Sumner County is you're adding all these residents, but you're not paying hardly anything. Sumner County, they get their property tax, but they're not getting much sales tax from us. Robertson County benefits tremendously from sales tax that they get. So I'm just trying to tell you, sometimes it's lopsided, these things, how they go. There's never a perfect science between the two. So it's just challenging in my role.
And Sage, I realize, is technically Robertson County, but I use Sage all the time as a cut through to get up to the interstate. So
I never use Sage. And I live off of
But
Sage.
your citizens do, that's the thing, like all of our citizens travel all of our roads, and that's.
Yeah, and the way I feel on that, and Gerald knows this, because we worked quite a bit on it during our transportation committee meetings, and it was something that I think needs to be looked at eventually, is trying to take the politics out of road projects and develop some type of way to use data to select these projects, because it may be, we need these projects worked on in areas of town that have the most congestion. And the money's going to have to go to those areas and where the safety issues are at, and some other areas may have to wait.
Oh, yeah.
And so prioritize them based on data is ultimately, I think, a good goal to set. We're not there yet. We did include some data.
Yeah, we did on accident data and crash data.
Yeah.
But we have Grid Smart too. We know what the traffic counts are. And I can, Tiger Springs does not bring in the traffic counts that you're going to get over on and Hester Drive near McDonald's, where you're averaging between 29 and 33,000 vehicle movements a day.
Yep.
You're not going to get even this intersection right here, 31W and 76. I mean, we've gone up in just in the last few years from like averaging 14, 15 to around 20,000 vehicle movements a day. It's pretty significant. So I think you have to look where the traffic is. That's the reason these improvements, where we have most traffic and where we have most crashes, is around the interstate. So unfortunately, if there was areas that you'd like to point out to us in your district that you think needs higher priority attention, I certainly would like to have you.
Yeah, I think these are
send me an email.
sort of no-brainers.
But the car count on Pleasant Grove and Union Road are the same cars, are they not?
No, totally not.
He said yes.
Well, you're talking about, you're going to have some that turns on Union Road. It starts dropping as you get further away from us. So, so you're going to have Love's definitely is over 20,000 vehicle movements a day. Then it's going to get less at Union. It's going to get less at Pleasant Grove Road. It's going to get less at Cross Plains Road, which is outside the city, by the way. I know we get hit on that, but that's not our intersection.
But that's why we're getting all of our officials in the same room to get 76 fixed.
I mean, the Union Road, how far is that from Pleasant Grove? Because I've heard.
I measured it off.
I think we measured off over 600 feet.
600 feet.
Yeah, so you're talking about widening, you're putting a signal in one, and then 500 feet later, you're widening it? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Turn lanes?
Is there still a possibility of going back to about rerouting Union?
We don't think that it's going to be a good choice at this time. We think maybe later on it could be added as a feature, as an extra add-on. But
that
right
gives you
now,
one red light, one intersection.
Yeah, but the intersections they're far enough apart. They would each warrant their own, traffic signalization and turning movements, turn lanes.
No different than
they're definitely unique in their style. Union Road is really a challenging road. I mean, that's where we have a lot of crashes there.
Plus, it would probably cost us more if we did it that way, assuming.
Yeah, it needs some improvements. I mean, eventually Union Road's gonna need to be wide. That's one of those roads that it's gonna need to be widened all the way down with shoulders, with truck traffic going in. And, you know, as we built out Union Road with industry, and there's more coming off, you know, with the new industrial park on this side of the highway, but they're gonna be used, a lot of them, there will be truck traffic on Union Road, there's no doubt about it. We'll pick up.
When we mentioned turn lanes on Union Road, so is that just on Union Road, or is that also on 76 turning into Union Road?
76 for sure.
Okay.
The Union Road side is I think, we're hoping to add a turn lane in there. But for sure, there's gonna be a left turn lane going westbound on 76 on Union Road. That's what TDOT's requiring, postal traffic agency. But we probably are gonna expand a little bit more and widen, especially since we have private dollars going into it, see if we can widen Union Road, because it started falling apart on us a couple weeks ago. I'm looking at it again, because his crews were out there doing emergency repair work out there on Union Road, because it really was caving in on us along the edge where Gary's got his, that tree area, there's all swampy and stuff. But they put a patch on it, but it's something that's gonna have to be fixed in the future here. So I'm hoping that can be part of our improvements.
And then Lennar, who's going to pay for the light?
Lennar will be paying for the light.
Yep.
As far as TDOT's concerned, they need to pay for the turn lane too,
Right.
design, so we'll see how that goes with Lennar.
Did you guys get any feedback from your letter to the representatives? Didn't you say?
We just sent that out.
Just sent that out, we haven't had anything back yet, it just went out.
They didn't call you the next day? Your representative?
Unfortunately, we've got to have representative help to get this 76 thing.
I've reached out to Representative Lambert. I told him, I know that's not your area, but we're not getting the help we need, so he's willing to roll up the sleeves.
He's willing to do it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've looked at all other funding options. I mean, we've had, they have it's called a safety audit that you can request if you have a problem. We have. That's how we were able to get the widening from McDonald's underneath the highway to the southbound exit, is because they said at that time when we requested it, the crash rate was higher, was above normal for the state, so they were able to help us with that, and that was several $1 million that they did on that. I think we spent $190,000 on that project. But we haven't looked at the Pleasant Grove Road one. They say it doesn't. I mean, we fought. I mean, the citizens have asked for a traffic study. The state's come back and said, no, it's not warranted. We know it's warranted. We've had a couple other studies since. So they're warranted. And then same thing with Union Road is warranted. We know that. It's just a matter of getting it funded. Now, maybe the state will see us putting money into that 76 corridor, which is an improvement. Maybe that'll help them move faster.
Right.
To maybe get our project. Hey, we're willing to put almost $4 million into these intersections.
Right.
Folks, you know, can you help us with widening this? The next part that really needs to be widened is from that. They need to take the southbound exit and make it look like the northbound exit, because right now we used to have that wide white sweep, you know, and so we got rid of that. Now the trucks, they just sweep off the highway. They don't have to stop.
Right.
And they're heading to Love's. And they got to cross the lanes of traffic. And today I almost got hit by a truck when I was heading out that way. And Derek was out that way. Same thing, a truck comes, and they're coming over. So that needs to be fixed. The state really needs to get out there and take a look at that.
Yeah.
I think we're at that point, you know, where we need some help from themselves.
So the improvements, they don't have any improvements that they plan on making to those on and off ramps with this widening project, is that correct?
Not seen anything.
And so there's not going to be an additional merge lane to come, there's going to be 3 lanes, and then there'll be a merge lane, but I would expect, I haven't looked at the plans for that.
They haven't got it. I mean, I don't even know if they've started designing it, because, you know, it's a 4-phase project. I know they're designing the other phases. You know, that's something we can ask the
I can find that out.
The district manager when he comes visit with us, and we get him here.
Yeah, so having double, you know, my thoughts on that are, if you go up to Kentucky and look at their on ramps and their off ramps, they're double lanes.
Yeah.
And they have huge merge, even on areas of the low population cities, the merge lanes onto the interstate are extremely long.
Yes.
And much safer to
This one is
access.
not.
No.
This one is not.
So, I mean, that, if we're going to have talks, we need to make certain we discuss that also, because I think, you know, the queue that developed in 76 coming back to the east, you know, that having two lanes on an on-ramp will tremendously improve that.
I know in the state, before they did the northbound side, you know, we opened up Charles Drive into the Walmart complex. They weren't too excited. They were mad at us, flat out. TDOT was. And so they were concerned about the traffic that would have the yields right, swinging all the way over and getting into that lane to go to McDonald's, to go to Waffle House, and go to Walmart. And they said, you're going to just back up our interstate. And that didn't happen, but they seen the need, you know, to change that, how you ended. Because now you have a left turn lane, 2 right turn lanes, and it's working out really well. We're not having the crashes there. The result, at least because of that intersection, the way it's designed, that's why they have to do something on the other side. But getting them out of the good is a challenge, because they have, you know, the mayor and I discussed it. It seems like the state is focused on highways, federal highways, while the burden of the city seems like, you know, the state routes and the cities that falls on them. And then who's supposed to take care of our collector roads and that, you know, because we're spending our money on state. We have to maintain the sidewalks, traffic light signalization. Oh, they'll come up here and fill a pothole in that and maybe pave the road every 10 years. But it's like, yeah, it's weird how the system is set up and the way that it works. But we're going to keep trying, and we can keep pounding and knocking on the desk.
Like Sam said, if we could take the politics out of everything.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, I just know that CDOT does respond favorably for those cities that do offer to put money into their assets, because it's their asset.
Yeah.
You know, we have one that they're going to be working on Hester Drive at the Industrial Access Grant Program. That road is a private road, and when they put that $3 million infrastructure in, that will be our asset. But that's not the norm in most cities and how we do things.
Okay, and the Callista Road widening.
Yes.
So is the road in bad shape, or it's just in anticipation of the housing? Yeah. There's nodes back there. Wake up.
How many homes?
1,000.
How many are completed?
In a half a mile.
How many are completed?
350.
Because I have
150 in Concord Springs, probably
and
about
234 in.
They're getting up to about.
There's no shoulders. There's no shoulders,
right.
and the way 9-foot lanes.
It's going to be over 1,000.
I mean, when you try to turn off Boyles
Yeah.
Road onto Callista, you have to wait for traffic coming in your direction to be out of the way so you can actually turn
Or you're in
onto
the ditch.
Callista. Or
so
you're
the
in the
widening's
ditch.
going to fix that?
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise
Widening will improve the safety of the road. It may not slow down the speed. I get a lot of complaints regarding the speed on that.
455, 152.
Yeah.
That's the number of houses.
That's going to be, this road we know is going to be very challenging with utilities and right-of-ways, so we know that. So we're trying to do the best. I mean, I know when we get into the design, we've already done some survey work out there, but we're going to do the best we can to try to keep our costs low, but it'll be challenging.
So Jason,
So that's the 2.5 million includes all of that?
They're in the preliminary on that.
Utilities stretched?
Yeah, but it is a lot of homes that would be using Callista Road, like they're heading to Walmart.
Yeah, Callista was an old country road back in the day.
Yeah, nobody drove Callista.
You went down there to go visit a friend, maybe.
Yeah.
There was some improvements back under the Obama administration when they had the American Recovery Funds, and there was a section of Callista Road from Indian Ridge down just a little ways where they did a little bit of stormwater, a little bit of paving and widening, but not much. So we're looking at a much better road, taking us all the way to Bill Moss Road.
Yep.
And there's another thing. The developer is required, the safe harbor folks that's on that bare left side there, they're required to widen Bill Moss Road from Callista all the way down to the interstate to meet our standards for widening for rural roads. So that for collector roads, I'm sorry, but that road has to be widened a little bit. So they have that burden. So we'll have to make sure that they stick with that as they do that.
When do they have to meet that burden?
Before they're completed with the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
The timeline on the timeline on the completion of the project?
But you're only seeing one side there.
They
cross
the
road. There's a lot of development that's taking place on the other side of that road. That brownfield there, that's all going to be filled in with homes eventually.
Way more homes than need to be over there.
Amen.
There's over 1,000.
And then Marlin, turn lane.
Yeah.
And I think really we need a signal
It is, that's part of the, that's part of this project. When we looked at that one, we thought we could get away with just a turn lane on Marlin, but once Jason got into studying the intersection, it actually had like 4 warrants that showed up for traffic signals, so we definitely need to do a traffic signal there.
That would help traffic coming off of Highland, coming out of Pizza Pub, on down through there.
Summerlin.
Yeah, that'll kind of break that up, because there's times.
When ours
And
require that.
Newball, like all of that.
Yeah, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, trying to make a left-hand turn going south.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna
I
happen.
spoke with some school bus drivers, and you can imagine, us just trying to run a few errands, they have their work cut out for them.
Oh, yeah.
Navigating around the city.
And they're at peak times too.
Okay. Any other discussion? Sounds like we're sort of kind of on roughly the same page. I think so.
We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, we'll discuss it more at the budget retreat. All right, we'll move on to the next item of other business, to approve or reject subdivision infrastructures and street acceptance for the Parks Phase 3B. Planning and Codes Director recommends approval. Motion?
Motion to discuss.
All right, second?
Second.
Regis?
Our public service team has been out, wastewater, everybody's been out to inspect, to make sure everything is in operational order. There are some solar lights that still need to be repaired. Going into this maintenance phase, the developer will take care of that. So
All of them in the parks?
this phase 3B.
Just phase.
I think it was 5th, the number of lights, but they're gonna 38. Yeah, 38 lights. So
Are they replacing them?
the 38 lights are not functioning. It's due to some timing and some.
Yeah, if you don't mind me addressing it, I just learned this week too. I didn't realize this with these solar lights. They're set up to be not on from dusk to dawn. They're just not. And because the battery lights, I guess, would not hold the charge long enough to keep them out all night. So what they do is every 1 or 2, I mean, Isaac explained it better, but they rotate which one's going to be on. So you may think a light's burned out because you happen to be driving by at a certain time, but really it may not be out because the next one over is on, or the third one down. Is it groups of 3? I think maybe it is.
I personally live there, and the lights at the front of the entrance are never on.
Yeah. But they come on when you go to bed. Maybe for a couple hours. I mean, what do they say?
It's the darkest road right there.
Yeah, they're in sequence. Whenever they were ordered, they were ordered specific to the direction of sunlight. So the solar panel that is at the top of the pyramid has to face south so that it gets adequate amount of sunlight. Although we all know that is not the case.
Right.
But yes, they are installed and numbered when they are installed. The developer explained that and said, there's no way that 38 lights is burnt out. So he said there's got to be a programming or a sequencing issue out there.
And the whole subdivision is
Yes,
an issue. I mean, there are a lot of kids in this subdivision, and I travel it every single day, and my concern is someone is going to get hurt because the lights are not functioning properly.
So this is something we're gonna have to take over too.
I really want to hold someone accountable for that. We haven't held them accountable for much so far, in my opinion. But I know I'm speaking because I live there, but not just because I live there, because there are kids there and someone is going to get hurt. Anyway, Legacy Farms is the same way. I know that's on the.
Legacy Farms is.
They're going to have regular lights, right?
They are. They're all. They put it in the system that way. And any new subdivision since Mr. Moss and former mayor's gone, we no longer do those solar lights.
No.
So I mean, it might have been a great green idea, but not.
Right.
They don't work.
I mean,
They're not working.
It's
They're
great
not
for
working that
green.
well. So
I'm all for that.
yeah, we have like 4 subdivisions. I think they're like that. Maybe is it 5 subdivisions. So I've asked Isaiah to take a look at what other options do we have. Can we go with a better bulb, a better solar panel? I mean, I know they bought the lights that look decorative, but maybe because they're solar lights, they may have to have a different type of panel or a different style of light. They may, maybe it may have to be like a parking lot light or something that's
functional but not pretty.
Functional, but maybe not so pretty for the subdivision.
I mean, I can tell you that.
But they'll be expensive.
Property management lets people know that the city are going to be responsible for the lights, and it's on them to fix it. And so, that's something when I look at, I go, oh, I'm gonna hear about this.
There'll be a big cost associated with
Yeah,
that.
and so that's why I just wanna put that out there on the record that I talked about it and it was discussed, so, that's it.
Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna see if we can
Okay.
get a better improvement. He's already in contact with the lighting company, and hopefully we can maybe do some experimenting with some of it. To go in these subdivisions is run underground electric.
Oh, yeah.
Replace all the poles in that's gonna be quite expensive.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, but we need to find a better solution than what's out there right now. And they need to be on, every line, I think needs to be on all night long.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Not for 3 or 4 hours.
I mean, if you
I
got,
know
if
it's
you
not your
got
fault
10
that day, I
poles,
don't want you to think that, like, I just,
10 lights should be on.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids over there,
Yeah.
so.
That wasn't explained to us years ago. when they
The
started
design
looking.
spec for that, when we approved it originally, did we know that they would rotate?
I'm not sure.
I was never made aware.
I'm
That's
talking
what I
about
heard
going back and
this
holding
week.
these developers accountable,
Yeah.
and that may be something Valerie can look at. Did they meet the design spec they were
I think
supposed
that
to
was
meet?
before either of us were working.
Okay, because if they didn't and they installed something that is not in the standard, we
Yeah,
would
but
have.
once we've accepted it, I think it's,
It's ours.
the ship has sailed.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why we're talking about this right here.
Right.
Yeah. Some things we can control.
Yeah.
So you say we're gonna hold the maintenance, we're gonna have a maintenance bond, right?
Yeah, we have a.
So if we don't get these lights straightened around, we'll be writing a letter like I did today, right?
Good.
To another developer for not getting something done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. Thanks, guys.
All right. Any other discussion? Got a motion? Yeah, we gotta approve or reject it.
Are they all functioning right now in 3B?
No, sir, they're not. There's 38 of them that are out currently, and,
I'm not gonna vote for something that's not working.
at the, whenever I spoke to the developer, I said, you know, I'm not going to accept it this way. We can't take this over in this manner. He said, I will have it done in 30 days, and we are holding a $15,000 bond on those.
That ain't enough to cover it if we hadn't fixed it.
Why don't we, you wanna table it till next, for another month and see what they do?
I think we get into the issue of it, when it expires, if it expires in the next 30 days.
Does the bond expire? Is that
It
what
expires
you're saying,
in
the
April.
bond expires?
The bond will expire in April.
So we can't extend the bond?
The planning commission would have to extend the bond, and then,
You got time when, when it runs out in
I think
April?
it's, we do have a planning commission meeting, April 8th.
Is that
So we
before the
could, yeah, the bond expires, I think, the 20th.
Because we get a situation where we can't get a viable option of lighting, then yes, we might have to dig them all up and put all new poles in and run traditional lighting. So that's gonna be more than $15,000.
We don't want that.
And we don't want that. So,
This is the first bond I've had with, acceptance, going to acceptance with this issue.
the developers need to understand that we're gonna hold their feet to the fire and make them do what they're supposed to do. And if it's not right, we're not gonna vote for it. So, that's at least my opinion on it, so.
Or table it, either way, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, so.
As
I
long
think
as
we need to
can-
extend the bond.
Yeah, we need to see if we can extend the bond. I think that's, because if it's not, even if we wait now and we hold them to it, how long do we have after that?
If they extend the bond, is another 12 months?
It'll be a year, or they could, come and request acceptance after everything is working.
Does our bond state that we can extend it?
Yes, we don't have, it's up to, it's up to the public services director to, deem everything functional before the city accepts it. So, I think with this particular case, knowing that we were going into the maintenance phase, and they had additional phases to go, before they get their final CO, everything would have to be fixed. I think that was kind of the thinking, or the thought process would have been 3B. But, you can, push for, an extension, and.
Can you put it on the planning commission's agenda for April?
Yeah.
Yeah, time for that, why don't we do that? I think that's the first thing we do. I think if you all want to you can reject or table it, and then until it comes back to you again. So.
If I may, the $15,000 bond is in addition to the 10% that is held of the overall bond.
How much is that overall bond?
The overall bond was, I don't know, I can't remember, I don't know what the total you wrote.
Off the top of my head, I don't recall, but it's gotta be in $100,000.
About $130,000, because the typical bonds are that small, you buy 1.3 million, 1.6 million, so it's 10% of that total bond.
I just wanted to, I'm not questioning you, I'm just making sure that we were.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not
the
just
same
we got
Yeah.
more money to
It's
play.
kinda like buying a house,
Yeah.
you know,
$15,000.
it's kinda like buying a house, they want you to close on it before it's finished, and then they drag their feet on getting everything fixed, and you're 15 months down the road, and you're still not finished. I've just seen that happen too many times, so, I've always been a big advocate of when it's right, then we'll take it, and we'll pay for it.
This has been a problem for a while, because I know
Yeah.
Andy, I kept seeing the tickets come in on the apps,
Yeah.
that the lights were out, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what's going on out there?
This could be a bigger, more expensive problem, and I just think we need to err on the side of caution with our other issues that we've got as far as the things we have to spend money on. I just
We
think.
did mention to him that was the option before him, was to accept or reject. I did let him know that was a possibility that they may have.
Developer has the option too of doing hard wiring in the next phase too. I mean, we've talked about it before, but then I thought he was gonna do it for phase 3, but he didn't do it. So maybe this would push him a little bit more, but, again, I think my recommendation would be to take it to the planning commission in April, extend the bond for another year. If he gets it done early,
He can,
he can show us that it's working, then he can bring it back to this board, and you have to go back to the planning commission again, obviously.
Yeah.
Make another recommendation.
I can get him on the agenda.
Maybe the best thing would be to reject this one at this time.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to make a motion? Yep.
Motion to reject.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject subdivision infrastructures and street acceptance for Legacy Farms Phase 1, the Planning and Codes Director recommends approval.
Yeah, we actually walked this one, back in November, I think it was. So they did have everything complete in this phase.
And they have electric powered street lights or solar?
That was their choice when they put the development in. They did not want to put solar lights in our subdivision. They wanted it to be a little bit higher end than I think than the park side of things,
Yeah.
is what they thought they were doing.
What about
And
the-
it's more for seniors, I think.
Yeah.
Supposed to be.
What about the conditions of the roads and the sidewalks they put in? Have they had any issues with those?
Have you seen?
So the sidewalks and the curbing have been marked and replaced out there, and then we had to go back in because the contractor that initially did the concrete repairs did not do it to the city's satisfaction. So we had to remark it, and they had to bring in a different subcontractor to repair those sidewalks. At the time that we marked curbing, we marked sidewalk as well. We marked out the binder that may be in poor condition and that is required to be milled out and repaved.
Okay.
So we walked through.
Those roads, do they still have a binder, or do they have a full, a final coat on them?
They have binder on them currently.
Today I went through there lunchtime today. They were paving today to put in.
Oh, were they today? They were.
Yeah, they were paving
Okay.
today.
Yeah, that started, yeah.
So when do you do your final proof roll? After they put that coat on, the final coat?
No, the last proof roll is done on binder.
Okay.
So we do it on subgrade, we do it on first lift of, do it on the subgrade, and then we do it on the first lift of base stone, the second lift of base stone, and then binders, before they are approved to do topping.
Okay. And all of those, the proof rolls look fine?
They did, yes. There were some areas of concern that we didn't let them move to the base stone portion, to the first lift of stone, until they remediated the issues that were on the subgrade.
Have they had any drainage issues in that, either, or this subdivision, since we're talking about it now, waste or stormwater issues?
I have not heard of any stormwater issues in that neighborhood. I do know that there is a large gas line. There's 3 gas lines that run through that area, and the final grade and the stabilized area of that is meant for drainage. So a lot of that drainage is shed to that gas pipeline essentially, and so for that reason I haven't heard any complaints. That was the intent for that gas line.
Any other discussion? You got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No discussion items, no other information, we're adjourned.
I just wanted to make a comment about, your area with Tyree Springs.
Yes.